Attention! Combat starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello my Pixel people, I am Pixel and welcome to another episode of First Boot. In this episode we are going to be looking at the Rise of the Triad Multiplayer. I have done a separate video for the single player and I will leave a link to that in the description. This video is purely multiplayer focused and I need to give a little bit of a disclaimer. This one's done a little bit different to my normal First Boots because I am actually not playing this game live. This is a pre-recorded session and I will explain quickly the reasons for that. First off, I was struggling to find a game which would stay full for a long period of time, and I did start recording this live a couple of times, and then certain issues would have got in the way, and it just basically meant the video just came to an abrupt end. It just wasn't so great. And the other reason is playing Rise of the Triad at 30 FPS on max settings like this video is right now, and commentating at the same time is very difficult. I hold my hands up. If anybody can do that, kudos to you. You're a bigger man than I am, to be honest. Massively. So, okay, so with all that in mind, I just want to start off by trying to talk about a couple of the positives that I have found in the multiplayer. I suppose the first really big, massive positive is the concept. I absolutely love the idea of having an old school multiplayer arena shooter back on the PC, where it's all ludicrous, just running around, shooting stuff, blowing everything up, and all that good stuff. However, and this is a big however, I'm actually going to warn you right now that I am going to struggle to speak about many positives in this game because, unfortunately, there is not that many. I mean, that sounds awful, but just hear me out. Try and stay quite far into the video. I don't know if it's going to last the full 20 minutes of the gameplay. If it doesn't, the gameplay will continue. So don't look at the video and think 20 minutes of this all my days. It might only be 10 minutes. I don't know. I haven't decided. But I just want to start off by saying the speed. Like, for instance, I've told you the concept is great. I love the idea of a fast multiplayer shooter. I mean, let me just talk about my history. I've played a lot of Quake, a lot of Unreal, a lot of Crysis, a lot of Brink, a lot of the older style first-person shooters. And I know that sounds crazy when you say Crysis, but Crysis 2 was a lot faster than your typical modern FPS. Okay, so with that in mind, you're all going to think that I'm a noob and I'm just complaining for no reason, but this game is too fast. I'm just going to say it straight out. This game is too fast. You could half the speed and give the characters 5 times more HP, and it would still be faster than Quake, and you would still die faster. That's it. I mean, they're saying that they're going for this old school vibe, which is cool, right? This old school back from 1994, where the original Rise of the Triad did the same kind of multiplayer, and they're saying that this is how it was back then. And I kind of disagree. Sure, there was a lot more speed than there is in actual Quake right now. However, the rest of the mechanics synergized with that and actually made it kind of okay. Because, for instance, now we are looking at a 1080p resolution. I'm playing at 30 FPS, even on low settings. My computer, which is a beast, still struggles to hold a steady FPS. Sure, I can get my 60, but I'm running on a 144Hz monitor, and I would preferably like to stay above 144Hz. That might sound snobbish, but I always believe that a game's performance, like FPS-wise, can't just be judged as in, oh my god, this game's got bad FPS. You need to look at all the aspects of what dictate what your FPS is. Is the game a really pretty game? Is it doing loads of stuff in the background which, like complex calculations, which would explain why the FPS is dropping from a CPU standpoint? Is there loads of pretty stuff on the screen which would explain why the FPS is dropping from a GPU standpoint? And unfortunately, with Rise of the Triad Multiplayer, I have to say that it almost feels like the FPS is so low just through bad optimization and bad game design kind of ideas. I mean, I don't believe that the level cools off at certain distances like a normal first-person shooter would do, or should I say a well-designed first-person shooter would do, which means that even more frustrating in a low FPS, you could be looking at one side of the map and be getting 144 FPS, nice and steady, and then if you just turn 30-40 degrees, all of a sudden that FPS will tank down to 30 or 40. And the issue is not the fact that it drops to 30 or 40, it's the fact that it is moving. Like, any pro FPS player will be able to tell you that the most important thing, regardless of, you always want a certain amount of FPS, and that's fine, but the most frustrating thing that could happen while you are playing is your FPS fluctuates. And I find that in Rise of the Triad that happens an awful lot, and it mainly feels like it's coming down to just bad design choices, not looking after, like, optimizing the geometry at a certain distance, or just cutting some stuff out. Silly little choices, like on this map, for instance, just using this as a quick example, there is a bridge of these gravity plates, which are these round discs which fire some powered stuff out of the bottom of them, and they float. And that's cool, right? But the problem is, when you're building a bridge out of those, and you've probably got 100 of these round circles rendered on the screen at the same time, with particle effects coming out of the bottom of them, that is going to affect your frame rate. The amount of triangles / polygons, whatever you're counting in, involved in that is much, much higher than a simple bridge would have been. And that is massively unfortunate, to be honest, because I don't know if the graphical fidelity actually kind of justifies the frame rates that you're getting. Anyway, I've spoken too much about frame rates and performance and optimization. I am going to move on to the weapons, and the weapons are something that on first glance seem really cool. I mean, you've got your SMG, which has got ludicrous amounts of ammo. I don't even know if you have to reload it. I do reload it for some reason, but I've never actually run out of bullets, so maybe I'm just wasting my time. You've got dual pistols, because what kind of Triad doesn't run around using dual pistols? And then you've got your rocket launchers. You've got a rocket launcher, a bazooka, a mini nuke launcher, a firewall shooter, homing missiles. You've got loads of stuff, and it's all batshit crazy, and that just sounds like it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. However, when you actually couple that with the fact that even if you have full HP and full explosive armor, most of these weapons will still kill you in one shot, it kind of becomes a little bit frustrating. And not only that, you can only actually carry one rocket projectile weapon at a time as well. So, like, for instance, I've got one now, and I've just gone and picked up a homing missile instead, which means I've left the bazooka up there. And you've got limited ammo. But that doesn't matter, because all that you end up doing is just spamming rockets in the general direction, and you will get kills. That seems, at this moment in time, to be the best way of playing the game. Run towards any massive explosive weapon, which there is a lot of them, and aim towards somebody. I'm not even saying aim at somebody. I mean, just saying aim in the general direction and keep firing, and you'll get kills. And it is hella frustrating, because the same thing's happening to you. I mean, you can spawn, and 2 seconds later you're exploding in a cloud of giblets, or yeah. And I don't like it, to be honest. I really don't. And I think that, like I said earlier on in the video, if you actually half the speed of this game, like by 50%, just of the actual characters, and then give them 2 or 3 times the amount of HP, so it's not a one-shot kill all the time, then maybe this game would actually become quite skill-based, and it wouldn't be a case of just running towards an nearest explosive and running around shooting. I know that they're saying that they went for the old-school feel, and it's a faithful recreation. However, like I mentioned earlier on as well, things have changed. We're talking about 1080p, high frame rates. We're talking about bullets from your pistol, your SMG, is now the size of a pea on the screen where it hits. Back in 1994, when you were playing at 340 times whatever, I can't even remember the old school resolutions, that wasn't the case. Your pistol was effectively firing cannonballs. You could get hits. And not only that, I hate to put even more hate onto the Unreal Engine than what I have done in previous videos to do with anything on the Unreal Engine, to be honest. But the Unreal Engine, as good as it is only good in capable hands. And I honestly cannot remember the last really good multiplayer FPS on the Unreal Engine 3. I mean, I think the closest you can get to a decent Unreal Engine 3 multiplayer game would be Tribes Ascend right now. Probably followed by, I think, maybe, I'm just talking about the AAA stuff. So it'd have to be tribes. Hawkins not too bad. What else is there? Blacklight Retribution, maybe. But I've played a few games like Renaissance Heroes, Painkiller Hell and Damnation. Painkiller's Hell and Damnation, the HD remake, was really good in the single player. The hit reg was spot on, they ported over the movement system flawlessly. But again, the Unreal Engine just doesn't seem to handle hit registration very well, unless you make sweeping changes to the whole way it works, which I honestly don't believe that they have done in Rise of the Triad. And that means that using anything which is a hit scan weapon, such as your pistols, even your melee weapons, and your SMGs, just become highly frustrating and very, very unreliable. Couple that with the speed, which already makes it hard to aim at, then it just ends up feeling sloppy and spammy. And I think that's what basically sums up this game. It is very sloppy, very spammy. And I want to try and tell you guys, is the game good? And as you can tell, I've got an awful lot of negatives to say about the game. But one of the positives is that it has got Steam Workshop support. And what they're saying is they're going to release the editor, it's going to have a map editor, you're going to be able to create your own weapons and everything. I think if the community managed to balance this themselves, then we may be in a better position. I mean, I'd get rid of some of the weapons, I'd change some of the weapons, I'd change the damage, I'd change the speed, I'd definitely redo all the maps, and then maybe we've got a playable game. But the question is the community for this game going to stick around long enough for that to actually happen? And I'm not 100% certain that it is. Right now, if you want to play a fast old school shooter, you've got too many options out there. Sure, they're old options and you might be a little bit bored of them, but these old options, I can guarantee, well, I can't guarantee, but I am pretty damn certain if we came back in 3 months' time, a lot of these old options would then, again, have a bigger community than what is going to be playing Rise of the Triads at the time. And by the old school games, I'm talking about go and play Quake Live, play Unreal Tournament 2004. Unreal Tournament 2004 still has an healthy amount of people. Wow. Still has a healthy amount of people playing it. Tribes Ascend, sure, it's been no longer supported, however, it's still got quite a few people playing it, and it gives you that old school fix again. I don't know, guys. I really don't. This game was so promising. I've watched this game for a good year of its development, and I've been very excited, and I couldn't wait to get my hands on it. I got this game a few days early due to a review copy. I played a couple of games online, and at first I just assumed that I was having such a bad experience because I was playing with the 300 ping Canadian servers to the UK. And when I started playing it just a few hours ago on the European servers, I played for about 3 or 4 hours. I won almost every match. I think I did win every match that I didn't join in late in. So for instance, if I joined in halfway through a map, then yeah, sure, I didn't win. But I think every map that I've been in from the start, I won. And the person who's winning is the one telling you that the game feels spammy, unpredictable, and not fun. So obviously, I know that I'm quite a decent FPS player, so obviously there is some kind of skill gap there, and it does carry over. It's not like Mr. Random Noob's going to do better than somebody who's good, just because the game's spammy and horrible. However, I don't feel like it feels that fun. I mean, fun to me is the ability to run around, kill quite a few people, and feel confident in what I'm actually doing on the screen. If I can feel confident that when I move my mouse, it's going to go to an exact spot on my screen, and when I pull that trigger, there's going to be no delay, the rocket's going to come straight out and hit exactly where I was aiming it, then I think it's excusable. I'll tell you what another game which suffers from these exact same problems is, and it's not even on the same engine, so this isn't Unreal Engine's fault, but a game with the exact same problems is the recent release of Nexus, which was, or Nexius, or Nexus, it's spelled really strange, but that was released on the CryEngine. And just like this, it felt really fast, really floaty, and it just felt like there was no impact. They're saying that they're going for an old school feel, but there's a difference between an old school feel and just feeling dated. And I honestly believe that Rise of the Triad falls into the latter. unfortunately. There's not really too much more I can say. If you was after an old school deathmatch shooter, play Quake Live. If you're going to get this, it's only £10 or $15. It's a good price. I can't knock it for its price, but I would honestly wait until the workshop integration's in and there's more people making some decent maps, because so far every single map apart from Castle Grounds, which is the one which has been shown off in all the trailers, in my honest opinion, is pretty bad. Pretty damn bad. So I'd wait for the workshop integration before I'd pick up this game if I was you. And even then, unless you're really craving for some old school action and you're willing to look past the bad hit registration, the poor FPS, the poor official maps, and the dated gameplay, then it might be worth picking it up. This has got to be the most negative first boot I have ever done about any game so far. It feels awful doing it, and I feel really bad for doing it. However, that's all there really is to say. Anyway guys, I'm going to leave the gameplay to finish itself out. I am Pixel. I hope that you've enjoyed this video and that it's helped you out a little bit. If it has, don't forget to slap that subscribe button for some more PC gaming goodness and to like the video if you liked the video. I totally understand that this is quite a rambling video, but I believe that I got most of the points that I wanted to off my chest. It's a little bit more difficult without actually being able to play live and show you guys what I'm talking about at a certain time. But yeah, so as I said, enjoy the rest of the gameplay. I kick ass as usual. Ha 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 ha. And I'll see you next time. Bye bye guys.
lucky. 5,